Welcome to the Dice Tower video preview of GenCon 2013. In this series of 4 videos, Tom Vassell and Zee Garcia take a look at announced games for the GenCon convention. And now, here are your hosts, Tom and Zee.
And so that is why we go for here.
Okay.
Why hello.
Hey!
My name is Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia. How you doing?
And even though the intro just said that this was a series of 4 videos, apparently we all lie. What happened actually is we recorded a series of 4 videos telling people about things that are coming at GenCon. The problem is some companies did not tell us what they were doing. Other companies have announced things since we put those videos up. And other companies didn't announce anything, period, and we're just going to make some wild guesses.
Okay.
In our very first video, we'll get started in this. In our very first video, we talked about Fantasy Flight and what we thought they might have.
That's right.
Well, actually, we now know at least one game for sure that they're coming out with, and that's Eldritch Horror. This is
Seems to be a follow-up it's a spin on Arkham Horror, I would say.
Yeah, it looks like Arkham Horror mixed with Fortune and Glory from Flying Frog Games.
And they were very clear to say that this is not meant to replace Arkham Horror.
Or even be a sequel to it.
Right, it's quite simply another game in that same universe, and it looks great. You know, you have the whole map of the world in this one. It seems to be emphasizing a storytelling element.
Yeah, I've heard the playtesters have said very good things about it. This is one of the very first games we will actually have a chance to play at GenCon, so we'll tell you about it, but it looks really good.
Yep.
So that's Eldritch Horror. We also think they're going to have Bloodhound there, which is a deduction game in which some people are from the Clan of the Beast and the Clan of the Rose, and they're trying to figure out, you're trying to assassinate the elder of the opponent's clan. Sounds Resistance-y.
Right.
Is this a new genre?
It feels like this is in tandem with it's small deck games, you know? It seems like now this is taking off, too, the whole who's who.
But people do like these games, right? Because there's that other company there. They're not actually having the game there, but they're demoing that 2 Rooms and a Boom, which is the same thing where you're doing that. All right, so as we look at our secret list here, Queen games. Now, unfortunately, Queen doesn't tell us anything, or hasn't told us anything. So we're guessing there, but I know when we talked to them at the Gamma Trade Show that they were talking about Lost Legends was coming out later this year. It was a successful kickstart from previous years, designed by Mike Elliott, a card drafting game, but with a fantasy theme. Basically, you have a hero and you're drafting equipment.
And that looks very cool.
It does look good.
If it's there, that's one to look for. I'm sure the quality is the component quality is going to be through the roof. It being from Queen, and it sounds like a neat game.
They'll also have a lot of their games that have come out over the past 4 or 5 months via Appia and things like that. And then we're hoping, but we don't know, that the Thebes card game will be there. What's that called?
The Tomb Raiders, yes.
Tomb Raiders. Multiple Lara Crofts.
That game has been showing up on a few places for, pre-order for a long time. So hopefully it'll finally
I really like Thebes. But it's hard to imagine. I mean, the main thing I like about Thebes that's cool is reaching in those bags and grabbing the tiles. How can they bring that to a card game?
It's a bag and a bunch of cards.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, what it might be, though, is some decks of cards, and you shuffle them and draw one. Or maybe just a completely different game.
I really like that game also, Thebes, that is, and so I'm looking forward to this one.
All right, Cheapass Games, they have some of the new games that came out of Origins. In fact, we reviewed one recently, Fish Cook.
That's right.
Check
that out.
And then there's the one that we haven't played yet, where you are a book trying to spread your ideas. What's that called? Varietas?
Very weird thing.
And then they're debuting a game, they're Deadwood Studios USA, which is actually not a new game. That came out at least a decade ago, I think.
At least a version of it.
But this is like their newer ones. Their games do not include all the components you need. Often you need to bring chips and cubes and whatever. But at least now the stuff in them is color, as opposed to the original black and white. Looks like they printed it at home.
Yeah, the quality is definitely better of what they do include.
All right.
That's good.
Cool Mini or Not is going to be there, and they'll probably be selling a ton of Zombicide and Zombicide promos and a ton of Super Dungeon Explorer and Super Dungeon Explorer things. But they will be showing off, although not selling Chaos Ball. That one is scheduled a little bit later in this year, but they'll probably have a very good working demo of it. This is a new 2-player game from Eric Lang, fantasy football style game, but each of the fantasy teams is based, you kind of like have, I don't remember what the teams are exactly, but like the orcs are punks. Right. And the elves are the goths. Right. Think high school, then mixed with fantasy, and all the people who've play tested it have said very good things about it.
It seems like a neat concept, and Eric Lang has been on a high, point for us lately with
trains and stations. So that's Cool Mini or Not. Cubicle 7. Now last year Cubicle 7 debuted a game, the Doctor Who card game that everybody went bananas over getting and then immediately forgot. Although it did win the Origins Award, but that means nothing. But this time they have the Hobbit Tales, a one-ring card game. Hobbit Tales, woo!
Yes. Well, this seems to be, what it appears to be is basically a storytelling game, in which you have cards and you put together a story. Your hobbits sitting around, the table drinking ale and telling tales. That rhymed. That was cute. The funny thing is, it's from the same designers as the guys who did War of the Ring. And this
which means it could be pretty good.
It could be. This seems like.
But those guys also did the Beowulf game.
Which one?
The Age of Legends, where you're not actually Beowulf, you're helping him. It was the sequel to War of the Ring, kind of, sort of.
I'm not sure I know that one.
All right.
But it looks neat. Again, storytelling game, which appears to be a theme or a type of game that's going lately, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Let's see, Catalyst Game Labs. Now, Catalyst Game Labs has really, in the past, they have two big products, really. They have Battletech, and they'll have more Battletech stuff there, lots of new stuff. And then they have Shadowrun. Those are the big things. But they have declared that 2013 is the year of Shadowrun. So they have the Shadowrun, the deck building game?
Crossfire.
Isn't that where you shoot marbles at? No, that's the old Crossfire.
That's right.
Now, that'd be cool if they mix that game with
Shadowrun.
Yeah.
You have to role play while shooting.
This is a deck building game. It will not be at GenCon except in demo form, but you'll be able to try it out and see, especially if you like Shadowrun and want to see it brought. This is only one of the upcoming board/card games coming from Shadowrun.
And it's one of many deck building card games coming from a lot of people.
I thought the deck building genre was dead. All right.
Live deck building.
The Duke is a abstract game that debuted at Origins, I believe, where you had these different pieces and you move them and then flip them. There's, I think, like 6 different expansions for this that you'll be able to get there.
Robin Hood, and they have
the Musketeers.
Oh,
and they got one where you can just buy tiles and put your own things on it. And for this game, I think that's a cool thing because even if it's a little bit more powerful than other pieces, both players get it, so who cares?
Sure.
And Catalyst, Battletech Alpha Strike, a quick playing miniatures game. Of course, that's always pretty much a lie when people say that. It just means it takes 4 hours instead of 20. Have you ever, how many quick play miniature games are there?
Probably not too many. But, for the miniature players out there, look into that.
Flying Frog. Now, it's hard to pin them down to see what they're coming out with. They have their series. So we know they're going to have their latest expansion for Last Night on Earth there, which is called
Timber Peak.
Right. And so you know that's going to be there. There might be expansions for some of their other games. They have multiple different games. Fortune and Glory, the expansion for that. The Treasure Hunter will likely be there. Right. They have not announced any new games, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw one there, at least in prototype form. And it seems like they're going to be selling promos there for a lot of their games. So if you like zombies or aliens, I love their aliens game, the Conquest of the Planet Earth.
I'd love to see those guys put out a small game, a smaller game. It seems they keep growing and growing. The games keep getting bigger and bigger. I'd love to see them have a try at like a cool card game,
Well, we'll have to see. That's Flying Frog. Let's see where we at. Mayfair, we forgot to mention a game from Mayfair in our last one, which is a big deal, and that's Asgard's Chosen. This is a deck-building game designed by Morgan Dontonville about trying to appease different gods from Asgard and it's a deck-building game, which is, surprising. But this is, if I think so, this is Mayfair's first deck-building game. I don't think Mayfair has one other than this.
One off the top of my head, I don't think so.
So
that's cool. It looks good. It looks really neat.
Yeah, the artwork is cool, and the idea seems neat. It seems like something new that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, hopefully it'll bring something new to the table, and that's the way to go.
Nevermore games will be there. Last year they were showing off Chicken Caesar, which is like a chicken version of Kremlin. This year they will have Mars Needs Mechanics, which you're trying to build it's a steampunk style game where you're building a rocket ship, but from what I can tell, it's a very Euro style game. Go here, worker placement type things. I don't know as much about it, but a lot of people who've played it said they like it.
It's got a cool steampunk feel to it, a look to it anyway. So, that draws me in right away.
And then finally, or not finally, we got two more. Castaways from Passport Game Studios. Passport Game Studios has put out several games. They brought the English version of Trajan to America. They also they brought Police Precinct, which is a game I like a lot. Castaways is a cooperative game. What was it formerly known as?
It used to be in Spanish known as Náufragos.
Okay.
Which is the same thing.
But I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's kind of semi-cooperative. You're all on the island trying to work and get story points to get off the island. If you don't get off the island, everybody loses. But if you do, the person with the most story points wins. Now, I know this makes you wary.
Yeah, it scares me a little bit. Semi-co-op always scares me a little bit.
Because there's always a chance semi-co-op. I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose. Well, guess what?
I'm not winning.
We're all losing. I just burned our shelter down.
Look cool, though. And... again, it's one of those moments where this and what is the other one that's coming up? Robinson Crusoe.
Robinson Crusoe.
Just that theme seems to be in the ether a little bit.
All right, then finally, Privateer Press. They have War Machine High Command and Hordes High Command. Deck building games. And they're the same system, and you'll be able to mix and match them, similar to Cryptozoic's system where they have the DC and the Lord of the Rings deck building, and you can put them together.
We have a couple of other things to talk about. They might have Dixit 4 there. That's probably an Asmodee.
Not for sale, I think, just to look at, probably.
Just to see that, yeah. And that's I want to check that out because I love the game.
Yeah, Dixit's great.
We might be getting to the point now that you cannot put the cards in a box anymore.
Yeah, but what I would like to get to in the game of Dixit is where we don't go through the whole deck. When you first played Dixit, you were going through twice.
That's true.
Then you added in the second one, and it wasn't so bad.
Right.
I want to get to the point where it's like, oh, I haven't seen that card in a couple games.
So that's cool. I want to check that out. What else are we missing here? We talked about them.
What are you talking about? We got it all.
Oh, I think we...
Yellow.
We got to mention a couple of Aiello. We got some more details on the games. I think we mentioned them all last time.
Well, we missed one that's called Heroes of Normandy, which is kind of an odd game for Yellow. It doesn't fit their
style. That's true.
They do silly fantasy.
The artworort fits them,
right?
Just not the theme. And it looked to me almost like a light Memoir 44. It gave me that vibe.
So that's going to be there in prototype form only. And another prototype they'll have there, we mentioned last time, is Zombies 15, but now we know a little bit more about it. 15 means the game's supposed to take 15 minutes. You're a group of 15-year-olds. You are running from 15 zombies or something like that.
It's some gimmick.
It's this gimmick that's all 15. But
I do like the fact that it's a timed game. That's cool. That should be interesting. That you can get in and get out in 15 minutes. Sounds good.
And then we have Right Games. Right Games is a Russian game company. I've done reviews from them in the past. Evolution, Zombie, the Leonardos, the Kingdom of the Crusaders. I think I did like 4 different reviews. They will be there with all their games, so you can see them. Their games are usually very short, very small card games. A couple of the ones I played I thought were kind of or less than and then a couple I thought were some pretty neat ideas. Their Evolution game's pretty neat. The one I'm most interested in that they have coming out is a game called The Jam, which is about making jam.
Yeah.
Well, no, look, I'm always in the thing about let's have some different themes. That's a different theme, It's also about making pies, which is better than jam. I don't know.
Pies versus jam. Get on that, Richard Lonius.
But they have several other games, Shinobi and Japanese something or other. I can't read it from here. Confetti as a game. They'll have a lot of different games there, and I think that's cool though. I love to go to GenCon and see the different games publishers from around the world.
Yes.
In the past there's been Japanese booths and Korean booths. Well, this year apparently there's Russian folks coming in, and that's exciting.
That's always cool.
So that's all we know. This is probably the last video. Even if Fantasy Flight announces something new tomorrow, well, too bad for us. But we will be there. Zee and I will be flying on Tuesday. So if you're in the area Tuesday, we have a free schedule Tuesday for the most part.
Yep.
So if you want to play games, please contact us. And look for us at the fair. Come by and say hi. Get your picture taken with Zee. Tell us, shut the door. We'll stick it in our videos. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And you've been watching The Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.